Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ben, for a very nice introduction about sensory research in Borneo. I just give a few slides to give a brief introduction about sensory research at SIFBI. Actually, compared to Borneo, we are really a new starter here on sensory research. We formally established a platform of sensory science and oral processing, literally in April. But of course, we have a long history come over this one. The establishment of this platform is a core part of SIFBI's strategy on food science and biotechnology. We're going to support the two pillars of SIFBI's overall strategy. And you can see both on sustainable food and consumer care value chain, and also the health and well-being in Asian phenotype. And we support these two. We are solidly based in Singapore. However, we have a big vision about the world. Our study located in the Asian countries in the region, and also make strong connections on the world, including Borneo as well. And the advantage we have here, sensory research in Singapore, is because of the east-west connection in Singapore. We have multiple ethnicities in Singapore, the population, and also we have very rich food culture in the region. And of course, everything is backed up by dynamic economies in the region. When we set up this platform, we have a few basic thinkings about what we can do and what we want to do. We have two very basic thinking. One is sensory research at nowadays, what we need to do. If we compare the food provision and the consumer concerns, the two very important aspects, past and now. For the food provision, from the last 1 or 2 generations, we changed from scarcity to plenty, from seasonal to all year round. We have no season now of food provision, from regional to global, from backyard growing to home delivery, from homemade to processed, and there's a lot of debate about whether ultra-processed or mild processed. More importantly, for consumers concerned, our last few generations most concerned about the starving, stomach empty. So from half filling to overeating now, oversupply food, from food seeking to fill up stomach to experience seeking. We would like to have more exciting food experience, from kitchen preparing to convenience and time saving, from cost concern, more important now, to health concern and well-being concern. So that's a big change. So therefore, a big topic is whether we can, for food inventory, to make it sustainable as well as affordable, nutritious food, which offers unique eating experience and delightfulness. We eat food not because we are hungry. We eat food now most often for experience, for delightfulness. For food sensory research, we have another core question. The most concern, very obvious, is the yellow box, the stimulus to sensory perception, both to food industry, to academic researchers, to consumers. How this food stimulus, the chemical, physical information of food, converted to human opinion, human likes, preference. It's a two set of very different nature of parameters. One is material property, one is human's opinion or human perception. To us, say whether this tastes good, smell nice, and when put in the mouth, you have a nice mouth feel. That's a sensory. And for food industry, we spend a lot of effort trying to use different ingredients, different processing conditions, different methodology for structuring, packaging, storage, etc. All means in the effort to try to make this food delicious, make the food appealing to consumers. Whether there's a correlation, of course there is, or there are correlation between the two sets. That's the equation beautifully described the links between the two sets of the properties. I means the stimulus and material property is the sensory receptive from human. And this equation tells us lots of information, even though very simple, is proposed more than 100 years ago by a German psychologist. We call this Stevens law. And you can see here, very important, there's power here. N. This N value is very varies from different tastes, from different sensory stimulus, and also varies from different individuals. It can be larger than one, it can be larger than, smaller than. It depends on different scenarios. And even though it looks simple, but if you consider this scenario, the Stevens law become, very limited. We have lots of interfaces and interplays when food comes into our mouths. The interplays, different sensory inputs. We have lots of information in our brain trying to deal with, and also there are lots of interfaces between saliva, between air, between molecules, between particles. So lots of them mingling around. This makes our situation much, much more complicated. And how do we deal with this? Much beyond the Stevens law can describe. And that's the situation we have. So based on this, this background, for sensory research at SIFBI, we have 3 keywords, just as Ben described in Manuel: stimulation, characterization, and implication. So by these 3 keywords, we would like to answer how physical chemical information of the food material be constituted to maximize sensory stimulation. Use reasonable ingredient, not over-flavored, but you can still stimulate the sensation. How sensory stimulation be detected, converted, integrated, and interpreted by our brain. That's the stimulation. For characterization, involves both in situ and in vivo. We try to develop techniques to objectively and quantitatively to characterize the sensory properties, which food industry really need for such techniques. Implication is much beyond whether you like a food or dislike food, whether you prefer food or not. I think for implications, there's a great potential to grow in future, in coming years, because the consumers concerned are very different. Food sensory and mood, sensory and combination, sensory and general human wellness. And that's the area we would like to explore, and we will need to take leading actions in this area. Vision and mission of sensory research. Of course, we have ambition and we have a strategic plan at SIFBI to put sensory research at SIFBI as a leading center for multidisciplinary research for food sensory science, both at the fundamental understanding level and also at applications. And our mission, of course, we will use physical, physiological, psychological, and even neurological approach to conduct original research on the stimulation, characterization, and implication of sensory perception and food pleasure. And of course, and ultimately, we would like to answer industry concern, consumers concern, and even government organizations. At the moment, we have three main themes of sensory research at SIFBI. If we start at the bottom, the food preference and the consumer behavioral responses, that's already established, very well established in the past few years. And my colleague, Dr. John Pace, will give a presentation shortly this morning about this research. And we also have lots of previous experience on food oral processing, and mainly to see how food behaves inside the oral cavity, how food interacts with the saliva, how food stimulates our receptors inside the mouth and also the narrow cavity. And another very important is also swallowing covered in this area. Sensation and perception. This is an area we would like to conduct research in coming years, but this is just at the beginning stage at the moment. SIFBI also put lots of emphasis on this area as well. And this is our philosophy. How are we going to conduct sensory research? Traditionally, food sensory research focus on food-focused sensory. So that's very common. We do lots of analysis to see what's the microstructure, what's the composition of food, and then try to make a prediction. Another area is a human-oriented sensory, looking from human side. But what we would like to do, our philosophy, is to see food-body interaction by using all possible means, looking to how food behave inside the oral cavity and how humans respond to such experience. That's a food-body interaction. And we, of course, use different methodologies and different techniques available now. And that's my very brief introduction. Hope to give you a glimpse of what we have and what we would like to do. And we really look forward to collaborate with colleagues at Monell to do areas research and collaborate with the food industry in Singapore and in the region for possible sensory research. Thank you very much.